now that we have some time, we got about 10 minutes, we'll talk about the back through previous range. Back through previous range, what does that mean? So, since we know price takes out the highs and then fails and takes out the lows, when you take a signal, you're going to want to make new highs and then take a signal back through previous range to make new lows. So if we're looking at, let's say, PG on the 30 here, what we mean when we say signals back through previous range is if you're up here at high a day, notice how when you take a signal here, the only previous range, let's say you take this inside 15 and up, the only previous range you have is right here. Now, in contrast, you can see if you take this one potential 3 signal, notice how your previous range is all of this. That's what we're looking for. So we want to identify the broadening formation, if we can do that. And then you can see it makes new highs and then 2260 or 2230. It's like, why is this one more important than, let's say, this one? Because this one didn't make a new high, so you're chop shop, right? This one, 2260 back through that previous range. There's also the 322 here, which just failed. But tight stop it because that's a shooter. Then this one works, and you can see they take out both sides. And then today, notice how they get out of the broadening formation and stay out, which is what we look for, because once you do that, things expand and get quicker. Similar to if we go to Daku today, you'll notice it's like, why did we take this 15er signal? Say you make the slight lower low to that, and then you have the highs up here to this. So 15er here, that's back through previous range. Where is the previous range? To take this out. So you can take it here to take all of that. And you take it from one side of the range after making new lows here to the other side to make new highs. What most people do is they'll see this going up and they'll be like, oh my gosh, it's making new highs. This is breaking out. This is the best signal to take on the inside and up. It's like, no, the best signal to take is this one down here when everyone thinks it's going down still. And once it gets up there, if that signal works, then you're back above that and you're still expanding, which is why I keep mentioning 4909-ish. I don't have the level here, but 4909, that's right here. Because if you can stay above that, you can keep expanding the broadening formation. If you come back in, that's a rev strap back through previous range. That's what we'd want to be careful about. And this is the country western when we talk about that, because you're a 3 already. Now the rev strap back through, you can try and short it to take out all the longs from the highs here. And then if that works, potentially you take out the rest of them, but less than likely. That being said, though, you will have a country western, so you can try that if you'd like to. So now, when we talk about expanding the try, this is what we mean. A 3-2 on a higher time frame is when you go into that new low of the broadening formation here, right? Because this is a 3, making the new low. This is now a 2 down. The question is when you make this and go 3-2, can you stay under 145.02? Because then things can fall apart. And what we look for is expand here on the 5-minute broadening formation. And when it expands, it's going to aim for higher time frame targets. So if we went to back to the month, if we can get out of that 5-minute broadening formation and stay out, the next monthly pivot's here, 140, 145. So that's where it's going. Back through previous range and stuck inside. That's why we always tell you to identify the broadening formation, because if you do, you'll know if you're stuck inside or not. Because let's say Dow Jones, you draw this out. How do you know if you're not stuck inside? Well, did you take this side of the broadening formation out or this side? No. So what's that? This is all still stuck inside. Now, how do we trade in this if that's what we're doing? You have to identify the new broadening formation that forms from being stuck inside, right? You always want to draw from right to left and identify where you're at in the series. So like, for example, SPY. You can see this was the previous broadening formation. Oops. From last week. Notice the slightly lower low here. Green back through the previous range, right? And slight high there. So when this happens, if it doesn't reverse, it's not stuck inside. It's actually, this is 2 down in green trying to go 3, right? So when that happens, that's trying to go 3. When it reverses, that's when it gets stuck. So you'll see 2 up, 2 down, 60 SPY. So that's trying to make the new low here. 2 down, 2 up, 60 SPY. What's it trying to do? Notice how the magnitude of this 60 here is trying to take this out. that range, the second this 60 occurs, that range just got smaller because the range now looks like this. And you can see they make the new highs. Takes a while, but new high makes a slight lower low, stopping these guys out, and then back through previous range to take that and that. And now, like we said with the exhaustion risk, 60s did go red. 30s went 2 up in red. The 5ers gave you the 3-2 back down into this low, which you're still technically inside, but your broadening formation looks like this. So if you can go 3-2 here to take that, and that works, you can stay short there. And if it sets up this RevStrat 5er, you can take that too, because that would trigger the 60 down.